Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another Godzilla movie review. This time we're going to be talking about the Heisei series Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. All I do have is a double feature here with Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth. But we're going to be focusing on this one this time. So yeah, I've done a couple Godzilla videos on my channel. I did do reviews of Godzilla 2000 and Godzilla Final Wars. And if you guys are just watching this, my Godzilla video for the first time, I gotta let you guys know I'm a major Godzilla fan. Godzilla's been my hero since I was just a little kid, almost a baby. I own almost all the movies. I've seen all the movies. I got a Godzilla shirt right here. Also going to be going to a convention in my state. That's where I'm gonna actually be able to meet some of the actual suit actors that played them. So I've been a die-hard, lifelong Godzilla fan all my life. I enjoyed all the movies to some extent. But Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is probably one of my favorites. So at least it's in my top 5, top 10 of the series. There being roughly around like 30 Godzilla movies now, that's a pretty good spot. Of course, the Heisei movies, they tended to be a little bit more like self-serious definitely compared to like the Showa stuff, minus the original, of course. And the Millennium movies are kind of somewhere in between Heisei and Showa, I think, in terms of tone and such. Of course, it still does have its like campy aspects to it as well, once in a while. King Ghidorah has always been my favorite Godzilla foe. It's kind of debatable between her and Mechagodzilla as to who's like the main arch enemy of Godzilla. But I think King Ghidorah is a little bit more iconic, a little bit more kind of an original kaiju. I've always just found more fun to watch, just a much greater scale type of enemy. And I can't wait to see how King Ghidorah is done in the next legendary Godzilla movie in 2019. It's gonna look amazing, I bet. But Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in 1991. Really like this one. One of my two favorite movies of the Heisei series. This one and versus Mechagodzilla 2 are probably my favorites of this era personally. And then they're both, like I said, within the top 10, if not top 5 of all the Godzilla movies overall for me. I'll briefly explain the plot real quick, or like usual, read it. When a mysterious UFO is seen flying over Tokyo, tension mounts until the craft's occupants reveal themselves to be friendly terrestrials from the 23rd century, who have come to warn mankind that Godzilla will soon awaken and wreak havoc upon the Earth unless he's destroyed. Meanwhile, a triple threat arrives in the form of King Ghidorah, Godzilla's flying three-headed arch rival. The suspense builds to terrifying levels as the futurians, I don't know how to say it, but sinister mission on Earth is gradually revealed, and Godzilla must wage a solo battle against these evil forces who want to destroy mankind. So really, it's a story or a plot, we've seen in plenty of Godzilla movies before, except with this kind of like a time-traveling twist on it. But it's essentially kind of just like a redone version of like an alien invasion, type of setup, really. It plays like, aliens showing up again, really. And in this we also kind of get to see one of Godzilla's origins, at least the Heisei Godzilla's origin. Another reason I like the Heisei movies is because, he did follow, essentially one version of Godzilla, from Return of Godzilla 84-85, Biolante, to this one where he gets further mutated and then onward to Destroya eventually. So I kind of like that there is some form of continuity with that. You kind of got that on the show as well, and then of course the Millennium were all like one-offs except against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS. But anyway, unless we get one of his origins, the Heisei Godzilla's origin, we see that he was actually on an island during a battle during World War II, and he actually came out and defended, some of the Japanese forces supposedly, or more likely it was like a territory type of thing, him defending his home. And he's kind of caught in the crossfire. He does kill some of the U.S. troops and everything, and one of the human characters in the movie sort of formed a bond with him, or at least a respect for him. And so that's kind of played with as the movie goes along. And it does give the movie kind of a bit of, I don't know if I want to say heart, but a bit of like, a wee bit of like touching moments here and there. So I don't mind the origin for this. And it gets further mutated, of course, with the submarine and everything. They, talk about it and show a little of later on. But, I like those flashbacks, and I thought the Godzilla-saurus, or whatever you want to call it, looked pretty good for what it was. I actually thought some of the blood effects when he was being shot looked fairly good for, what they were. So I did like the Godzilla-saurus flashbacks. And Godzilla himself in the movie, when you finally see him full on, I really, really love this suit for Godzilla. One of my absolute favorite suits of the entire franchise. Godzilla looks pretty similar throughout the Heisei series, but of course, there are different suits. Despite him looking similar, they are, different. But this one in particular is probably my favorite, and I love, how the roar was changed a little bit in this one. I think it was a little bit different in Biollante too, compared to what we usually hear. He sort of has more of like a kind of thing going on. I probably just completely butchered it, but you know what I mean. Maybe. But anyway, I really just like this Godzilla suit. I thought it was really good balance between different elements throughout the Heisei series. Just really love the look for Godzilla, and the Heisei Godzilla in general has kind of become like a default Godzilla in a way too. So I really like Godzilla in this movie, obviously. And as far as King Ghidorah goes, she starts off as these little things called Dorats, that the people from the future have. Now King Ghidorah in this movie, I really like Ghidorah in this. But at the same time, I've seen Ghidorah done better in certain ways. As far as his origin, it's all right. We don't really get too much in the way of origin for Ghidorah, but I kind of prefer Ghidorah being a monster or a kaiju. From space. I sort of prefer how it was done in the Showa series. I just kind of prefer where it comes from that. And he's a little bit more sinister, a little bit more hard to deal with in the Showa movies compared to this one. Although I love the Godzilla and Ghidorah fight in this. It's probably my favorite part of the movie, that initial battle on the island where Godzilla shows up, bigger and more powerful for the rest of the Heisei series starting here. In the 23rd century, people are freaking out and they lose control of Ghidorah. Godzilla eventually uses his nuclear pulse and everything, blows off one of its heads. So that's probably the best part of the movie. And then a little bit later we get Godzilla versus Mecha King Ghidorah when they feel like they need to stop Godzilla, so they find King Ghidorah's body in the water and sort of repair him. That part's alright as well. I feel like it got a little bit dragged out after that, though. It probably could have ended with that initial Godzilla and King Ghidorah fight. I think that would have been fine. But I don't really have a problem with Mecha King Ghidorah, really. Kind of made sense, I guess. But Emmy or whatever, I feel like she definitely should have died when controlling that thing. But I guess the same applies with the the Kiyu stuff in the Millennium movies, right? As far as like human characters go, they're kind of typical. You have your writer, your scientist, and everything like that, and the girl from the 23rd century who ends up helping them out, Emmy, like I said. It's alright, but we're all here to watch the monster battles anyway. Or at least follow Godzilla and everything. So yeah, I do really like this movie. It is one of my favorites. One of my two favorites of the Heisei, probably in my top 5, top 10 somewhere overall. The whole time traveling future thing, it's kind of just a recycled, rehashed version of the alien stuff that we've seen quite a bit in the series. But it's alright, it serves for what it is. It probably doesn't need to be quite as long as it is. It does feel, like I said, a little bit stretched out, by the end of it. But then you have also these questions of what Godzilla can become. What is he to humanity? What does he represent and everything like that. So there are some good moments of that. And yeah, so Godzilla vs. Ghidorah overall, really liked it. If I had to rate it, it's kind of hard to rate Godzilla movies compared to like how I generally rate things. I'm gonna go based off of a site I used to look at. I think it was called like Barry's Temple of Godzilla or something. He used to rate like so many Godzillas out of 5. I guess I'd rate this like 3.5 out of 5 or 4 maybe. Just because I don't really like the whole time traveling. Well, the time traveling thing kind of works and then it doesn't. I'm not really explaining it the right way. But I do like the origin. I do like the Godzilla Sara stuff. The Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah fight initially is pretty good. Although I kind of wish that part of it would have gone on a little bit longer instead of like the break we get. But yeah, so overall, that's what I think. And let me know what you guys thought about this one. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.